FatDag is a Weight Watchers leader in Indianapolis, Indiana. However, the views and opinions expressed during this podcast are his own. They do not represent the views of Weight Watchers. And now, here's your host and wingman, FatDag.
I am your host, FatDag. You're listening to WhysAdvice. My weight loss journey failed when I focused on how. It wasn't until I switched my focus to why that I truly transformed myself. Join the show on the web at FatDag.com and follow along on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all at WhysAdvice. Send in your comments, your questions, and your celebrations. I'll include them as part of the show. But before we dive in, remember, when you're out of points, stop eating points. Hey, I'm honored to be your wingman as we walk through this journey together because I believe in you. Well, hello there. Welcome to episode 155. Got a very special show for you tonight. We're live on Facebook, live on Instagram, live on YouTube. It looks like we have a celebrity checking in on Instagram. Mud Hustler just checked in. Dude, shout out to you. How are you? Good to see you. Keep rocking it. Keep killing it. I saw you're going to be cooking live in Rhode Island coming up soon. So way to attack it. Way to get to the gym. But tonight's episode is really, it's just going to be a Q&A. We start the show off every night. I do it live on Facebook, live on Instagram, live on YouTube. It's important for me to find a way to continue to reach out to the community, to keep us all engaged, keep us all doing what it is we're doing. So tonight what I did, I put a post out on Facebook and I said, hey, what do you want the show to be? The show, ask me what you got. Let's talk about what's going on. And Amanda writes in and says, hey, does it matter what time of day you eat? I'm working nights, and on the night that I work, my schedule is different than the off days. So, for instance, I get home at 7 a.m. and I eat and go to bed. Is that bad? Amanda, it is not bad, or it is. It's up to you to figure out what it is. So, what I can tell you is as you work this journey, it doesn't matter what time of day you eat. I know that you get to the point where, there's so many things out there, and what we have is a term called confirmation bias. If you want to go Google what time, should I not eat at night, you can Google it and you can find enough posts that will support either decision you want to make. What I can tell you is let your weight loss be your guide. There's nothing I can eat right now at 10:30 at night that's going to make me gain 91 pounds before I wake up in the morning. So I know that about my journey. I know that I'm going to be okay. There are nights I eat very late at night. There are days that I eat very early in the morning. It doesn't truly matter if you're following the plan. Now, if you get out of a routine and you get to the point where that late night snacking becomes a habit, it's not the time that you're eating. It's probably what you're eating at that point and why you're eating and the habits that are driving you to eat. In your case, you're coming off of shift. Your body's in a whole different mindset. Your body's in a whole different routine. Don't focus on the time. You're looking in the wrong direction. Focus on the quality of the food, getting 3 good meals a day, staying within your points. Stop eating points when you're out of points. That's how you get it done. Deb writes in and says, how is everyone committing to taking our journey to the next level? It's a great question. It's a question you need to ask yourself right now. What are you going to do differently? It's 2018. What are you going to do that maybe you haven't done before? And I can tell you what I've done. It's no secret. Freestyle and I aren't exactly best of friends. When the program was launched, it took me a second mentally to get on board. And so what I'm committing to is I'm committing to making changes in my routine that support the new program and continue to get all of those great results. So everyone, ask yourself, what is it that you're going to do differently? It's very easy for us to stay in the mode of complacency. You do well. We get in this plan. We start losing weight. We start tracking. Everything is going well. And then boom, the program changes and we don't want to change with it. You get into that routine that is just, you're on autopilot. At some point, you can do a little better. And to take your autopilot off, turn it off, commit yourself to doing something different, kick it up a notch. If you've been working the program and all of a sudden you're feeling like you got the same 5 to 7 pounds that you're just kind of bouncing around with, I hear that very, very often where people just say, I'm bouncing around this last 5 to 7 pounds. Commit to doing something slightly different. Go after it. Get it done. Karen writes in on Facebook and says, does anyone else still feel the need to track everything, even the 0-point foods? I don't seem to limit my portions of 0-point foods unless I'm tracking them. It would seem like such a simple concept, and I love incorporating more 0-point foods into my daily menus, but I still feel the need to measure those foods and track, or my mind goes into eat anything you want mode. Are there any tips? Well, Karen, yeah, sure. So obviously one of the things that we understand, or Weight Watchers understands about this process, is that, one of the things that people aren't exactly thrilled about is having to track all of their food. And so the freeing part of this, the freestyle part, gives you that freedom to not track 0-point foods if you don't want to track them. Like you, I need a little bit more of accountability, so I track it. And I track it so that I can kind of get a gauge, not so much to prevent me from overeating, but to give me ideas on days when I go back and look 3 or 4 days ago to say, hey, what did I have for lunch that day? Because, I had a good day that day. The scale's going in the right direction. So I look back so I can remember what I ate, not so much that I'm trying to stay accountable to it. So that's why I track. But you have the freedom, as we've always said, is if you like the results you're getting, keep doing what you're doing. But the beauty of the Freestyle program is to give you a little flexibility. I know a lot of people feel that level of somewhat of embarrassment, I guess, which I understand it. I don't do it. But if you're at a restaurant, a lot of people don't want to pull out their phone and start tracking things. So you can order 0-point foods and not have to worry about tracking them, not having to worry, was your chicken breast at your restaurant, was it 6 ounces? Was it 6.5 ounces? So that's the beauty of Freestyle. Candace says, I'm struggling with Freestyle. The 0-point foods aren't my favorite, so I've been trying to shave a point here and there, but I can't seem to ever come in at under 23 points. I'm hungry no matter how many clementines I eat. I'm increasing my protein a bit, but it's harder than I want it to be. It's wearing me down. Yeah, Candace, let's talk about this. This is a very, very common thought right now. So many people were doing so well with the program. We switched it up into Freestyle because we recognize that the food industry is continuing to work their magic to tempt us. We have to keep up with the science and stay ahead of it, so that we can continue to choose and help people get into a healthy rhythm of eating. So when you get to that point where all of a sudden now you're struggling on Freestyle, a lot of it comes from many of us want to eat the same way that we've eaten our whole life, but we also want to lose weight instead. And quite frankly, it doesn't work that way. So what we want is we want to keep eating all the exact same way we did, maybe limit a little bit of the portions. We're willing to do that, but we're very not willing to make a complete change. And the reality is that change is what's needed, because if we were eating all the right foods before in the right amount of moderation, we wouldn't be in the scenario that we're in. So of course you're going to struggle with Freestyle in a sense where, I don't want to call it struggling. I'm calling it learning. Because what you're now trying to do is you're now having to reinvent yourself from an eating perspective. It's one of my very first episodes. I talk about, I tracked ketchup and therefore it taught me how to eat salad. And the reality is when I was tracking ketchup, I started running out of points because, ketchup at 2 and 3 points a day is what I was eating. All of a sudden I didn't have room for dinner sometimes. And so therefore I would look at the 0-point foods. Back then it was salad. Now there's a whole list of 0-point foods. And all of a sudden they became, I became interested in trying them. Now they're not foods that I would normally gravitate to. So now when we offer them at 0-point options, you now have the option to go, okay, I'm willing to try it. And so chances are many of these 0-point foods for a lot of us are not foods that we like. If we like them, there's a good chance we wouldn't be in this place that we're at. So you then have to go, okay, if this is what I need to do, keep increasing your protein exactly what you're doing. It's going to wear you down to an extent, but it's really what it's going to do. It's going to wear down the old you and build up a new you. And that new buildup is what you're really trying to accomplish. So it's good that it's wearing you down. Now take that same energy, refocus into building yourself up. Be successful. If you want to change your life, you actually have to change your life. And that means if you were eating unhealthy for so long, we can't just limit a little bit of the unhealthy. We have to actually go for some healthy stuff and do it. That's scary for a guy like me. It's not something I wanted to hear. When the list of 0-point foods came out, I wasn't excited at all because it's not food that I like. I'm now having to slowly, and I'm telling you, it's real slow. I have to real slowly start making the adjustments. We did have the other night, I had my first 0-point dinner. It was incredible. I was like, okay, there's a chance I can do this, but you got to trust in the program. You've got to keep working it and getting it done. Kim from Facebook writes, since I always struggle when the program switches gears. Hello, Freestyle. I believe it's a mind thing for me mostly. I'm working on coming up with a resolution/goal to help me get focused. Do you have any ideas? Kim, I think you're absolutely right. It's the same kind of concept that we just talked about is mentally, I was in a great battle rhythm. I woke up every day. I knew exactly what I was having for breakfast, knew exactly what I was having for lunch, knew pretty much what I was going to have for dinner. I was in such a great routine that, I just knew I was going to be okay. Boom, 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 just kept rocking it. Freestyle came, it had me readjusting, had me making some changes. So mentally, I checked out of the program before I even attempted to try it because I was so afraid of change. So when they first announced the program, my first reaction was to go, wait a minute, it's not. So rather than switching over to Freestyle, I stayed doing what I was doing. I stayed in my routine and kept rocking it. And then all of a sudden I realized okay, now the app isn't going to support this new lifestyle. And obviously they're making the change for a decent reason. I've got to figure out what that reason is, embrace it, and go after it. So as far as resolution and goals to help you get focused is why not put in a list of, add one 0-point item to each dinner. That's an easy goal. And so it's an acquired taste. When I first started this, there was a lot of fruits that I didn't really care for. And when I forced myself to eat them because I was running out of points and those 0-point items were better than breaking the program, I incorporated them in. So imagine now if you say, okay, I'm going to have one 0-point, vegetable for dinner. And all of a sudden dinner comes on, you add that in. It doesn't cost you anything to try it. If it's something you're not necessarily liking, you just try it. And then maybe you develop an acquired taste for it and you start working the plan. So you have to understand the mindset for sure. The mindset will get you every single time. Trust that you can do this. Watch everyone who's having success on it. This is absolutely doable. We just have to wrap our brain around it. Jennifer writes and says, why aren't all the points the same? If I eat my dailies and they are good and healthy foods, I lose weight. If I eat the same number of points, if some of the food is a cookie or two, I don't. How does that work? Well, Jennifer, it's one of the reasons that there are so many 0-point items. There's a popular app out there called MyFitnessPal. A lot of people have a lot of success losing weight on MyFitnessPal. Now, the difference between MyFitnessPal and Weight Watchers, and where I think Weight Watchers is a sustainable program for me, is I was able to lose weight tracking with MyFitnessPal. I could put everything in. I could log it. It's kind of conceptually, it's very much the same. But the key difference is 100-calorie apple is not at all the same as a 100-calorie cookie when it comes to your body and how your body processes that food. So if we're coming up at the end of a day and I'm using MyFitnessPal and I have 100 calories left for the day and my choices are grab an apple or grab a cookie, I would never grab the apple. Because why? When the cookie tastes so darn good. But the reality is your body is going to process the cookie significantly different than it processes the apple. All of the sugar and all the stuff that's in that processed food of a cookie, probably not necessarily great for you. So therefore, the beauty of the Freestyle plan is that we give you that apple as 0 points. We give you vegetables as 0 points so that you can then, make a choice that's healthier and that supports your foundation for healthy eating. That's the difference. That's the key difference between the two. And then what happens is, because we're now making the adjustment in the way you live and the way you eat, you make that adjustment and you're able to sustain it long term. If you stick with the MyFitnessPal program, again, no disrespect to the program, but if you stick with that and you never really change your behavior, then you never really adapt your lifestyle into a healthier eating, or you may not, you probably could, but this foundation in Weight Watchers is much more sustainable long term, in my opinion. Lori asks, what do you tell someone who is just starting on their journey, or someone who, like me, questions whether or not they will succeed? Lori, I can tell you, you've got to believe in yourself. You don't have to believe you can. You don't have to believe long term. Let me kind of rephrase it. What I want you to do is I want you to set up some very small goals. Do you believe you can track your next meal? I believe you can. Do you believe that you can track breakfast in the morning? Okay, I believe you can do that. So what I want you to do is set small goals along the way so that you can then slowly build that confidence. Now, if someone were to come up and say right now, hey, for the rest of your life, you're going to track everything you're going to do, you're going to lose weight, and you're going to track for, forever, initially you're like, oh, that's overwhelming. I don't want you to do that. I want you to set such a small goal. It relates to my soda habit. 3 years ago, I gave up soda completely, but I was not willing to give it up for life. If you would have asked me when I started if I would give up soda for 3 years, I would say absolutely not. No way, no how would I give up soda for 3 years. It's impossible. So what I said was, how about I just see if I can do it for 30 days? What I was trying to do was to see if I had the mental stamina to do something like that for 30 days. So I did. I just simply, I woke up, I gave up soda completely. I went from 12 sodas a day to 0 overnight. The next morning I got up, I had no soda. 30 days later, I realized I did it. And so then I had the choice, and I said, wait a minute, I just did it for 30 days. Why not try it for 30 more? At the 60-day mark is when I decided to try and take it a year. I took it to, I'm going to give up soda for an entire year with 100% intention to New Year's Eve the following year to celebrating that accomplishment with soda. That was my mindset. I wanted to try it for 30 days. That turned into 60, and I said, I'll do it for a year. I planned on New Year's Eve cracking a soda and celebrating that accomplishment. But when that time came, I was so used to not having it, I actually didn't even want it. That was 3 years ago. It's not even part of my life now, but I didn't believe I could do it. I wanted to just try and set small goals along the way to see if I could do it. Lori also asked, how do you get back on track after the holidays and a 3.4 pound gain? You thought you were doing pretty good this past 2 weeks. It's the same way. You know you can do it. If you've lost any amount of weight on this plan, you've proven you have the tools, you've proven you have the resources, you've proven you know how to do it. So don't let a gain at all ruin you. I said this in an interview I did the other day. I said, let's agree on a couple points real quick. So if you're listening right now, obviously you're listening, but if you're listening right now, agree to this. Do you believe that it's impossible to weigh the exact same amount to the 10th for the rest of your life? I believe that's the truth. There is no way that you can every single day hop on the scale, weigh the exact same number to the 10th for the rest of your life. It's absolutely impossible. Okay, so we agree on that. Now, let's agree that it's impossible for you to get back down to your birth weight. Would you agree with that? So if you agree you can't get to your birth weight, and you agree that it's impossible to weigh the exact same to the 10th for the rest of your life, then what has to happen? At some point, you're going to have to gain weight. It may be a tenth, it may be 3.4, but at some point, you're going to gain weight on this journey. It's impossible to not do that. So if you know that about the journey, then you just simply accept that as part of the process. And you don't give up, and you say, okay, today was a game, which means, okay, now I can lose. I'll lose again, I'll lose again, I'll lose again. Oh, I gained. I'll lose again, I gained. I lose again, I lose again, I gained. I lose again. If you keep up that trend, you get down to a point where you like it. And I got to tell you, when you get to maintenance, maintaining your weight is nothing but gains and losses. That's what maintenance is. It's a data point in your journey. So every time you see a gain right now, know that that means you're working the plan perfectly because you've checked in to get the gain. It's what I said also in the interview. They asked me, why do you weigh yourself daily? And I said, I don't need, I weigh myself daily for accountability. When I do the show, it's an audio show. You can't visually see unless you're following along on the web. And so I need something to let you know that I'm still mentally checked in. And that for me is my own accountability in the scale. And I put that automatically on Twitter. It automatically goes to Facebook. It automatically goes to FatDag.com. Every single morning I hop on the scale, it auto tweets out. I do that for my own accountability. And so whether the number is up or down is irrelevant to me. Where you should get concerned and where you should reach out for me is if all of a sudden you see I've gone 3 or 4 days and I haven't hopped on the scale. That's the danger. Now, of course, if I'm traveling, that's a whole different scenario. But if I'm here and I'm ignoring the scale, that's where the issue is. Not the fact that there's a gain on the scale. Because I can take a gain away because I have the confidence to know the program works. I have the confidence to know that I know how to work the program. I have the confidence to know that I have a wingman full of people who are working this program too, who get it. Together we're getting it done. We're killing this thing. And we can do it. Georgine writes in on Facebook and says, since you don't have a full switch, I don't either, how do you eat until you're satisfied on Freestyle? Well, one of the things, Georgine, that's interesting about Freestyle is, generally speaking, the foods that are 0 points are not foods we overeat on. They didn't make pizza 0 points. They didn't make potato chips 0 points. They made foods that are healthier for you, that not too many people, when they go on a full-on binge, they're diving into a bag of apples. That's not generally how it happens. So you do have to be cognizant of your chickens and your turkeys and your shellfish, but not really. If you're overeating on the good, healthy food and you're able to continue mentally stay in the game, and that's preventing you from overeating on something else, for the most part, it's okay. You'll start to recognize the feeling of being satisfied. I think we all can kind of look at a plate of food and figure out if it's a little or a lot. So if you're putting your plate of food and you think this is a ton of food and you're eating it all and you're leaving there going, oh, I ate too much, it doesn't matter what it is. So I'm with you. I know I have the most willpower before I have the first bite. And generally speaking, if it's on my plate, I'm going to clean the plate and I'm going to eat it all. So I just take note when I do that and say, okay, next time try and get a smaller portion. But recognizing that satisfaction point, it is a little tough. And one of the hardest things on this program, and it's why I'm extremely thankful for the program, is I trusted the program. When I was losing the weight, I was tracking everything and I was stopping when I was out of points. Very often I would be still hungry, but I would run out of points. And it took about 10 or 15 minutes after the meal for me to realize I was actually satisfied. And I got to learn that the amount of food that I need is significantly less than my brain needs. My stomach is okay. It's the brain that's asking for more food, not the stomach. And so what I had to do is I had to trust the process. I would have a normal sized chicken breast, whether it's 6 ounces or 8 ounces is irrelevant. But I think we all know that you can't have 4 chicken breasts for dinner. So I would take just a normal sized chicken breast, eat that, and then push away. And then allow myself 10 or 15 minutes and then go, okay, I'm actually content. And if for some reason I'm not, then top it off with an apple or a glass of water or something along that line to continue to get it done. But not having that full switch, it's a question that we're all going to have to kind of answer, because you have to eat until you're content, and that means something different for everyone. The good news is you can do it. It doesn't take long. You look on Connect, you find people left and right who are doing this. I tell you, as I started this journey, I didn't believe it was possible. I got on Connect and I started scrolling through. I found some amazing people who were getting it done. And when I watched them and I looked at what they were doing in their life, I said, oh my goodness, these people are doing this. This person lost X amount of pounds. Incredible. Oh, and they're working full time. Oh, they're juggling this. And I said, okay, well, if they can do it, I can do it. And so I just kept doing it. And so once I hit goal, all I've ever wanted to do is let everybody else know that you can hit goal. It's doable. So we just are working together as a community to just prove to each other it's doable. Nothing more. And that belief is what carries you to goal. This whole process, everything you're trying to do happens above your ears. That's right. This journey is so mental. You have to be mentally focused. It's why I do this show every night. It's why I want you to stay checked in. It's why I say I do not wish you good luck. I wish you good focus, because it's that focus. It's every meal sitting down saying, do I want this or do I want to make goal? Does this food that I'm getting ready to eat, does it align with my goals? Does it help me reach my goals, or does it push me further away from my goals? And do I care? There will be a time when you ask yourself if this aligns with my goal or conflicts with my goal. Sometimes it may conflict with your goal short term, but if you pick right back up and you get right back at it, long term, you can have success. There are so many people who've had success on this program that weren't perfect at it, who maybe overate on chicken, who maybe were afraid to try, a 0-point item, but they got to goal. Man, and there's nothing like getting to goal. There is no feeling in the world compared to being overweight your entire life, to be called obese, to be labeled, to be shamed, to be ridiculed, and to give it all away. And to take charge of your life and to say, you know what, that's gone. I'm no longer overweight. I no longer want to lose any more weight. Giving that away for life is the most amazing thing in the world. And all I want to do is prove to you, tell you, demonstrate to you that you can do it. I asked a question on Twitter today. I said, what are you most proud of? What have you done? Show me what you're doing. And the amount of tweets that came back of people who lost 100 pounds, 60 pounds, 50 pounds, just real quickly, numbers that were amazing from just regular people getting it done. People who can do this. And I got to tell you, you saw the announcement, of all kinds of people joining the program, and just getting it done. It doesn't matter what you got going on in your life. You can do it. It's 2018. Is 2018 the year you're going to do it? I saw one of the most amazing tweets and it said, I started 2018 not with no regrets. Knowing that I did everything I could in 2017 to get to where I am today is an incredible feeling. And you start 2018 off strong. And you finish 2018 off strong, and you finish your life strong, and you absolutely get it done. That's what we celebrate. And when we celebrate as a community. When we celebrate, we reach back. We find other people who are on this journey with us. We reach back and we say, you can do this. And how do I know you can do it? Because I didn't believe I could do it, but I didn't give up. I had some gains. I had some losses. I had some gains. I had some losses, but I was committed to doing this. I asked myself every meal, does this align with my goal? Does it not align with my goal? And I pushed forward and got it done. You can do this. You set a New Year's resolution. It's January. You're ready to do this. Are you going to give up? Is 2018 the year you're going to get done? It absolutely is and can be. and we celebrate together and just absolutely blow it out of the air. What is it that you're celebrating? Let's share it on the air. Go to FatDag.com, click on WhysAdvice Podcast, send in your celebrations, your comments, your questions. I'll work them in as part of the show. I want you to email in your celebrations, your questions, because I really, really want you to be proud of what you're doing. You hear so often on this show, so many amazing people who are doing it. It's doable. That's all you need to know, is that it's doable. Do you want your piece of it? Well, that's going to do it for this time. Remember that losing weight and getting healthy has nothing to do with luck. You have to remain disciplined and focused. Set your sights on your goal and go after it. I wish you good focus. Thank you for listening to the WhysAdvice Podcast. Did you know for as little as $1 a month, you can take the next step as a wingman and support the show? Visit FatDag.com, click on Become a Patron today.